would like firstly to do is really draw your attention to the slide which was presented earlier by Chris relating to the previous planning application. If you notice on that one, what we first had, we had this giant enormosity of a building which did not take into context at all the surround, the people, the values. There was only one thing that was interesting at the time. Whoever was the person involved in the planning application wanted value for the plot. And still today, what we really want is value for that plot. But we know the only way we're going to get that value if we listen to the people around which can input in either way, by creating sort of an environment where business feel that, yes, I want to bring money in. And also create an environment where people say, yes, I want to participate. I want to get a job in there. I want to. And that's the very important thing. So that's the first thing I want to see. So at the end of the day, what I would like to look at that is real from how can we develop this in a way that we're going to make money out of this. We've invested, and so far we are not making any money on this at all. And what's interesting also to look at, you focus quite substantially in the north of Europe, Scandinavia, Denmark, Sweden, and also Holland. But one thing we could possibly consider, we should strongly consider, if we are to make this as an environment concept design and development, look at Singapore. Look at Singapore. Some section of Singapore. How amazing many of those beautiful luxurious design developments and those affordable housing developments do not fail for a second in taking environmental design as part of their structures. And that's really one of the things that we have to look into. The other thing, we have to see how we're going to harmonize the people that can invest in the area versus the local, per se, working class community that for some reason, some circumstances do not have so much power of intervention or input. And there's lots of ways of working outwards by creating interests on the outer parts under the section 106 we're talking about here, where we can, sort of like an educational process, generating those schools or new educational centers for them, and slowly make them understand that what is happening at the core of ISIS plot is something they can reach up to eventually. And what I feel is, as a development as a whole, unless ISIS is prepared to understand that you need to work with the outer parts, the surrounding areas, and bring them in as investors in whatever form of concept, this redevelopment will not have the value that you initially had when you did your first planning application. That first planning application had a value X, and you have that figure still in your mind. Is now how can we turn around and still get that or more? I believe we can get much more by considering proper environmental design, and that's what we are here today to try to contribute.
Thank you. Next, is there another slide?
That's the, well, it was just the map.
Oh, that's my visualisation. Yeah, this is just me looking at the waterways again. Just potential really, just opportunities, nothing set in stone, but just, for example, number 1 on the top left-hand corner, this is looking at integrating the public sector with the water activity, perhaps having a public space, and then surrounded by mixed use or commercial development, and then bringing people out down by the canal, making also a strong route through to the town centre. To the top right, number 2, that's again looking at opportunities for looking over the canal, integrating canal, wildlife habitats on the other side, perhaps having a trail spotting that. And then number 3, this is a view of what it could be inside the disused warehouse where you walk into it. As you can see, that's the photo of what it's like now. And on the left is a sketch. We could have mixed units, artist workshops, cafe overlooking, people walking through, people visiting, people staying there, people eating, people working. Yeah, it could be quite a lively, interesting place. Keeping the frame of it maybe, taking off the roof, allowing natural light in, perhaps maybe using the steel structure, adding glass to it, giving it a light, airy feel. And I really feel it could be like a city within the warehouse, a really lively hub to be. This could be the main hub of the site, potentially, just an idea.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from anyone else in the Nick, you wanted to say
Yeah, well,
something?
I sort of looked at the warehouse too, and possibly the same too. It was having this idea of, because like, I found it very easy to draw, if this is residential, this is commercial, you get these very sort of blocky shapes. But using that warehouse as more of a completely mixed use, and maybe a different way of looking at it, and actually getting the leisure centre incorporated into it, as well as a surrounding degree of residential stuff, and commercial units too, which could kind of develop over time from maybe sort of light industry units, which are sort of more what's already here existing on the site, and then gradually over time as people populate the site, they become the sort of the more boutique and specialist shops. But the idea of having everything enclosed in one sort of large courtyard in that framework of the warehouses seemed quite exciting. Having that sort of passive surveillance of people being there 24/7, so they're living there, not necessarily the same people working there, but you don't have these times when a residential area is dead during the day and comes alive at night, and vice versa for areas of industry or of commerce.
And also there's potential for boat storage within that as well. You have that existing dock area, so that could be used. And not only, this could just be the entrance to the site, and the actual hub could be further within, going in further to the old warehouses. To the left there's, I believe, a lot of square footage in there, so there's great potential.
I think the Danish bunker, which was transformed into I don't know if it's either residential or commercial, I think it's a very clever, very clever way. It would be, I think, a great concept to compromise the wishes of the local community and really transform that into a very successful concept design. By uniting actually both bunkers, you could run the entire concept and redesign them in an absolutely amazing way, which will just knock out. It will be something to applaud. I think definitely it is something to think about it on the working with the mainframe design, but really open it. Just get some glass into there, bring some green into there, and then of course it comes within your remit. Is it to use as residential is more profitable as residential, or is more profitable as a business? It's bound to be that looking at that business side over there will be definitely so successful, and bring out some companies to invest in that. I think is one of the winners. You have a giant building, but nobody will notice because you will just somehow glaze it and just leave the core structures going through. How amazing is that?
So you could still have things like the idea of a tiling wasn't actually busting out with roofing or something like that, so you could still sort of see what's the use of, get some glimpse of things that are going on in time. Quite exciting.
And don't let those small boats going through because they're just annoying. Just get some real, the real thing, because I don't think they make money. They do it. But I think the potential of that site is absolutely amazing. I love this work. I'll be delighted to contribute there.